Welcome to a new edition of Turf Talk. I'm Vance Hanson. We have a very special edition of Turf Talk today. I'm joined here by James Scully, who's filling in for Ed DeRosa this week. James, obviously the big story of the week, we have a 12th Triple Crown winner named American Pharoah. Both you and I were alive when Affirmed won in 1978. However, I think you are the one who might have a conscious memory of that event. We waited 37 years. You were at Belmont Park on Saturday. Was it everything that you thought it would be to see a Triple Crown winner?
It was, and more. I mean, the celebration is what was really special. Didn't really. It was caught up in the moment during the race, and the stretch drive I thought was remarkable. It was just an awesome display by American Pharoah. But as soon as he hit the finish line, you really felt the crowd. You really heard the noise, and it went on and on. And when he came back to the winner's circle, that was a really special moment that I was glad to be part of. So I really loved it.
Yeah, I watched the race on Twin Spires TV, and then I went back and watched a video of the NBC coverage. And every time I've been watching it the last few days, I've had a hard time kind of keeping my own composure. I mean, the spectacle. I mean, 80,000, 90,000 people celebrating that. It was just unbelievable.
I wonder how the people that are like behind him, behind the finish line, like on the turf course. I mean, there's like 25 people out there with their arms raised and celebrating, and I mean, that would be something to have been out there.
Yeah, I remember when Real Quiet passed the finish line in the 98 Belmont, people behind the rail, the photographers, news people were just jumping up and down thinking that, hey, he held on by a nose, but of course he didn't.
Yeah.
Thankfully, American Pharoah is going to continue running for the rest of the year, barring any unforeseen incidents. We're probably looking at 3, maybe 4 races, but probably more like 3. Where do you think American Pharoah is going to show up, or where do you think he should show up?
Well, I think he's going to show up in the Haskell, and I think that is the most logical race. Bob Baffert's won it 7 times. It's at a mile and 1/8, which is right up his alley. And, I mean, he'll be 1-9 in that race, expected to roll. The next race, it would make sense to me, is Pacific Classic. He'll be based at Del Mar this summer. They, would love to run him there for the crowd out in Southern California, San Diego. And then I think he would trade him up to the Breeders' Cup Classic if he continues running, through the end of the year.
Yeah. I like those suggestions. I think the Jockey Club Gold Cup might still be a decent option. It's $1 million race. It's over a track we know he loves now. Yeah. It's 1.25 miles. It's probably, and obviously worth at least 4 times more than the Awesome Again, possibly at Santa Anita. So I think to bring him back to New York would be special, to put him on the honor roll of great Gold Cup winners.
Right. And, the thing for me is I'm really not too worried about him facing older horses. I mean, I think he's going to be the horse to be wherever he runs. I don't think, I think his top rival going for it would have been Shared Belief, obviously. He's obviously not going to meet Shared Belief because he's not going to be back this fall from injury. So I look at the Pletcher older horses and some other ones out there, Leah, and we'll talk about the Stephen Foster here coming up. But, I don't think he has anything to fear Baffert and Zayat. I think he should be able to beat older horses. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope he does stay in training.
Well, that's a perfect segue to talk about the Stephen Foster coming up at Churchill Downs on Saturday. By the way, American Pharoah will be parading on the Foster Night program at Churchill. I believe it's after the 5th race. So if you want to see a Triple Crown winner, head out to Churchill this Saturday. The feature is the Foster. Look, we've got a really good field of 7. The 3 favorites. It's a rematch of the Clark Handicap with Opportunity and Commissioner, who just is coming off a victory in the Pimlico Special. We also have a former Don Handicap winner in Leah, who ran 3rd in the Dubai World Cup. Do you see any of those 3 or somebody else jumping out of this Foster and possibly being a major contender against American Pharoah?
I do think those are the premier contenders. Leah, tremendous horse for Belmont. Glad to see him back running, because the last couple of years he's had some health issues where he's missed large periods of time, and he shipped him over to Dubai. He was a little rank in that race, but I think it's it's easy to expect big things from him if he stays healthy. Opportunity loves the track. Ran a huge race in the Clark last year, so he's going to get support. He'll be tough for Baffert. I like Commissioner. I just think he's starting the corner this year for Pletcher. I've become a believer. I was willing to question the skip-a-wave speed rating he got. He got a huge brisk speed rating for that effort, but he ran back or close to it with an impressive performance in the Pimlico Special. I think he's much better at age 4 than he was at age 3. I think the potential for at least a little value in there. But as you said, it's a really good card, full fields on the early part of it, 4 stakes races. It should be a tremendous night of racing.
And now we'll briefly touch upon what's happening next week, specifically Royal Ascot, 5 days of great racing in England coming up. And for American racing fans, California Chrome, last year's Horse of the Year, will be competing in the 1 1/4 Prince of Wales' Stakes on Wednesday. That's day 2 of the Ascot meet, over 1 1/4 on the turf. You and I were talking yesterday. This is not going to be a vintage renewal of the Prince of Wales. However, California Chrome is taking a big step up in terms of class and compared to what he previously faced in his only other turf start, the Hollywood Derby at Del Mar. You and I kind of agreed that if California Chrome can place in this type of situation, that's one terrific effort on his part.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be, what a coup for Royal Ascot to have him there. It generates tremendous amount of interest from the U.S. Racing fans and worldwide interest to see the American Horse of the Year, last year's Derby winner and Preakness winner, run in the Prince of Wales. I don't have high expectations for him, but I will say, like you were mentioning, a respectable effort. I'll be rooting with all my heart for that. I'd like to see him, run 3rd or 4th. I think that would be a great showing from him over there. But I fear he might run poorly. So we'll wait and see. But that's sort of the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Well, after the Prince of Wales, it looks like California Chrome will be coming back to America. Arlington Million has been mentioned. But if he doesn't do all that well, I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back and run on the dirt and maybe meet up with American Pharoah kind of early in the Pacific Classic. That would be a great showdown.
The owners have high expectations for him, but I would think anything's up in there if he doesn't run well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's coming up next week. We got the Foster on Saturday again, a great handicap event. American Pharoah parading in front of the stands for everyone on the Downs After Dark program. So take care, good luck this weekend, and we'll see you next week on Turf Talk.